Uh, Welcome back, all dear participants, for the final session of this faculty development program. To chair this session, we have with us coordinator of this faculty development program and head of the Department of Pharmaceutical Analytics at Bombay College of Pharmacy, Dr. Vaishali Sirsha. Madam, can you please take over to chair the
Yes,
session?
yes. Thank you, Dr. Sagar. Okay, so I can see the participants are rejoining again. I know we begin right in the morning at 9:30 sharp, and now we are almost, I think the technical sessions, what we had so far, the 13 technical sessions, a long 5 day sessions, which were based on the theme, have ended. And I can see that all the participants are eagerly waiting to wind themselves to really enjoy this weekend, which happens to be a Saturday. And I'm sure that this particular session, which will be taken over by Sriharsh Kaushik on the topic finding peace inside, tips on stress management, will not only be useful as far as this FDP is concerned, but I'm sure that in our day-to-day life, the tips that he is going to share with us today, it is going to be very, very useful. Let me introduce Sriharsh Kaushik. If I will say that, if you go to the YouTube and you just type Sriharsh Kaushik, you will see several videos of his where, Salesforce training, the transaction analysis, effective communication, in this time, COVID opportunities for working, and many more videos which he has shared on YouTube. So indeed, it's a privilege that he's with us today here. So actually, Sriharsh Kaushik has over 28 years of experience in building and managing these startup operations and scaling up existing operations in India and international markets. He is a supporting leadership in designing organization structures, helped in talent management through learning intervention, resulting in enhanced organization and people capabilities. Coming to his education, he has done his Bachelor of Science from Wilson Mumbai University, Masters in Marketing Management from Chetna Mumbai University, Masters in Human Resource Management from Velankar Mumbai University, and currently he is pursuing his PhD at the JJT University. So over to you, Sriharsh Kaushik. I'm sure that, as we faculty really now coming to this weekend and at the end of this faculty development program, I'm sure your tips will be useful to our faculty participants. So the floor is all yours, Sriharsh.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Uh, Thank you very much. I think I need to get back to my. Uh, can I share my screen?
Yes.
Is my screen audible?
I mean, yes, we are able to see your screen.
Finding peace within the. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor and a privilege talking to y'all to this at this faculty development program. A couple of months back, when I spoke to Dr. Vaishali and accepted the invitation, so I said the irony is that when I'm talking to faculty here, my stress started going up because this is not a core topic that I usually talk with. And when you're talking about stress management, I've done talks, but these are for general talk to students or new recruits in an organization to reduce stress. And I thought that you all are talking about a faculty development program, talking about things on metabolic and pharmacokinetic studies and talks of genetic polymorphism and everything I think was too heavy, and I thought making it so very simple will turn you all off. So I kept under my stress, kept looking at a couple of presentations and a couple of videos preparing for this, trying to get the right definition and trying to build in a more meaningful and a more interactive talk. So here I am with my take on stress management, and my way of looking at it is we all need stress. I think to do anything new, to learn, to grow, to be happy. I think it is everything is a stressful process. Nothing will move if we don't really have stress. But this stress, when stress along with some irritation, along with certain other things coupled together, sometimes gets into an unhealthy space and starts impacting all of us. So as long as the stress is a little positive, it is necessary. I mean, stress is it's positive. It will propel us ahead. It will make us more happy. It will help us achieve multiple things. But once this stress goes into a more negative area, it starts impacting you in a particular way. So why do I talk on stress management, and probably why I qualify to talk on stress management? Let me be very frank. Initially, if someone would have told me talk on purely on stress management, I would have said no. I'm a sales trainer. I teach pharma sales rep to sell better. I do leadership programs. I talk about development programs. I talk about how to be an effective manager. These are areas that I am very, very comfortable with. So why do I talk about stress management? What is my expertise, and how will I be probably different, or I probably add value to this FDP if I'm going to talk? So here is something that I need to probably tell you about myself. After these 27 years in pharma, looking after
Hello.
variety.
Sorry.
Hello.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Shreyas. Can you switch on your video because I think your video is off.
Uh, One sec. Let me. One sec.
We are able to see the slides, but not you.
No, my video. That's what my video is on, but should I?
Uh, I think Sir is just joining. Has Sir joined again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Has he joined, Dr. Sagar? because we are not able to see him.
Ma'am, he has joined, but then I think again he got disconnected or something. He'll
Oh,
join
okay.
and get you.
Okay. Yes, I can see him. He's joined, but I think he's not able to share. I think he's already in the presenters list. Yes, Dr. Sagar. Sorry, participants, we'll just wait for a minute. I'm trying to contact him.
Yes, ma'am. He is there as a presenter.
I'm not able to get him on the phone also. Maybe he's joining via phone.
Ma'am, he has already joined. I
Oh,
Sridhar
okay.
as
Yeah.
guest, and he's
Okay.
already there. So,
Okay. So he must be sharing
so
the.
yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, by the time he joins, maybe I can make some few announcement with respect to the schedule for the afternoon. So, dear participants, uh, today after this session, we break for lunch, and after the lunch, we are going to have the assessment and we are going to have the valedictory function. So, more than this assessment is a formality which Atal AICT has actually, I mean, it is mandatory, wherein all the participants have to give this assessment, which we will be giving to you all. The assessment will be in the form of multiple choice questions. Okay, and in that form where the multiple choice questions will be given to you all, in that only the last question will be where you have to attach your PDF file. So that PDF file will have the flowchart which was given to you as an assignment, and you will be able to submit the assessment only when you attach the PDF and you attempt the MCQs, that is the multiple choice questions which are given to you. Okay, so this is what will be with respect to your assessment. It's in a form of multiple choice questions, and you will be given 2 hours to attempt those multiple choice questions. There would be 40 multiple choice questions, and it will be in the form of that is, as I mentioned to you, it will be a multiple choice question assessment which we'll be taking. Okay, so these are the things which you have to do. Of course, in the valedictory function, again, I'll be announcing that though you will be giving the feedback forms over here, you will also have to submit the feedback form on the AICTE Atal portal. Okay, unless and until you submit your feedback form on the AICTE Atal portal, you will not get your certificate. Okay, so I repeat again that unless and until you log into the AICTE Atal portal and give the feedback even on the AICTE Atal portal, you will not be issued the certificate. So please make a note of this. Okay, so because the question later on will come that how do I receive my certificate? So there are certain formalities which as a coordinator I will have to do first, which will be done in the maybe in 3 or 4 days, which I will do. And after that, your major responsibility would be to give the feedback. Okay, so please make a note of this. I will again mention this in my valedictory function, what you are supposed to do. So we'll just see that. Okay. Okay, so Dr. Sagar, what is the issue?
I see sir has joined, but if you can just connect with him and understand what is the problem.
Yeah.
Because he is already joined.
Because we are not able to hear him nor see him.
He is because he's already on mute. Like we'll have to unmute. Okay, I see one more. There are 2 people.
Sagar,
Okay,
you'll have to take Harsh guest.
Yes, ma'am, I have added
Yes.
Sriharsh as well as Harsh both.
Yes.
I tried to unmute on the other phone, but something went wrong with this. My camera was not working. Now I think I'm audible and y'all see me.
Yes, very much. Yes. You can continue.
Sorry for this little glitch. So, basically, I was trying to last couple of weeks preparing for this session. I was trying to think what can I talk and why do I qualify to talk, and that was the stress point for me. But probably I was able to spend some time looking at multiple presentations in the past that I've done on stress management, and here I come. But I think the only reason why I'm comfortable of addressing and talking to this esteemed audience on stress management is something that I've done in the last 3 years. So I've been basically a sales marketing personnel of pharma, and after about 27 years, I called off my retirement from the industry as such. I thought of becoming an entrepreneur, and the stress mounts after that. And during this period of time, I landed up doing a course, a 3-year course on clinical hypnotherapy. So I'm now a qualified clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm surprised as to what drew me to this learning or to this experience, and it probably helped me see a lot of things in another light and probably manage my stress and my life a little better. So I accepted this invitation to talk on stress management, and I thought I'll be able to probably add some value if I talk about these experiences and the journey that I had through clinical hypnotherapy. Few of you all must have heard about it, but probably under stress management, that is something that I'm going to probably take you through. I plan to do a small 20-25 minute intervention where we try and look into our subconscious mind and try and find that peace within or calm yourself down there. So that is something that I've planned, and let's see how this goes. So before I get to that, let me just take you through the thoughts that I have on stress management. So I've got a small presentation that I've worked for y'all to guide me through this. Everyone can see my screen now. My slides are visible. Hello.
No, sir, no.
Okay. One sec. So I have
Maybe you
to
can
go
try and share it again.
Yeah, you can share.
sharing it again. Close and share again. Now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of the, trying to define stress, I tried to put this definition from a couple of definitions that I looked at, and I would like to look at stress as an unconscious automatic response to a stimuli, expectation, demand, threat, or any situation which as an individual you're not able to adequately respond to. So if there's a situation, there's an expectation, there's a need, there's a want, and if you're not competent enough, you're not capable enough, you're not confident enough to address that issue, somewhere that gap will be filled by stress. And it is an automated response. So basically, even if you have to get certain things done, your body has to work and move in a manner that it needs to stimulate itself to, releasing certain hormones, certain stuff so that you get into action. Whereas if you're not able to do it, then that release continues, you're not able to get results, and probably it impacts and causes stress. So this leads to certain physiological, psychological, behavioral outcomes. You may become nervous, you may become tired, there may be fear, there may be anger, there may be anguish. So there may be these are a couple of the responses that are there, and we look at stress. So on one hand, I'm trying to say that this is whatever happens during stress is required for our day-to-day operation in life. But the same thing, when you are not able to respond adequately or not satisfied with it, it's a thought process. You will land up getting certain impact on your body. So two things out of this I want you all to take back: that stress is something that is an automatic response. It's an unconscious response. And therefore, going and looking back at understanding our subconscious or our unconscious mind and how these things play a very important role. So I will come down to talking about stress in, there's something called as positive stress. Positive stress is something that is required for us to propel forward, move forward, achieve certain things. Tolerable stress is something that, when these issues come, when these demands come on us, with the support of others, we are able to manage. With certain push, we are able to do. But when we are not able to manage our expectations, our demands, our output, our threat, then we get into something known as toxic stress. And this, in the long run, will lead to several diseases, several issues. So whether it's hypertension, whether it's, your ability to lack of insomnia, weight gain, there are multiple issues that we fight with. And a good part of it is, when I had put on a lot of weight, I think this was probably my stress response. So when I quit my job, and then you're on the path of setting up on your own, starting a consultancy, trying to look for work, and then income drops when you leave an organization, cushy job, and you get into being on your own. All those things lead to stress. And my stress response was that I almost put in close to about 15 kgs of weight gain during that particular period of time. So I didn't realize, and I probably got hooked into hypnotherapy because I had the time. I went and did this level 1 course of hypnotherapy, and she told me to do, there were certain things I was finding it a little too, when they talk about past lives and inner child, and there was something that the, logical mind didn't agree with. So I was a little hesitant about continuing with the course. And that's when she told me to do certain auto suggestions and all. And I lost almost 10 kgs of weight in a period of 2.5 months. The same me being a little de-stressed, took off that weight. And I probably thought my hard work and my diet and the little walks that I was doing paid off. But she spoke to me and she said that, you've been walking, you've been dieting for a very long time, and that was true. But I never saw this kind of a 10 kg weight loss in a 2-month period of time happening just because I exercised well or ate diet well. So she said that you were stressed because of this new change in your life, and primarily because of certain practices of hypnotherapy. We worked on your subconscious mind. You got off the flight and flight mechanism, and thereby the weight loss was there. So I was a little, couldn't argue much with the teacher who was teaching us hypnotherapy. Her name happens to be Veena, and I went on to do the second course and then went into completing the entire syllabus. So I really see that certain things, if you change in your subconscious mind, you can treat and manage toxic stress better. So this is something that I'm trying to make toxic stress more tolerable stress today. So what is this subconscious mind and all? I will come to that very quickly. So what we are trying to say is that once you are stressed out, once toxic stress comes into you or impacts you, it will impact your body, it will impact your mind, it will impact your behaviors, and it will impact your emotions. So everywhere you see impact of toxic stress playing on or stress playing on. So if the body will show, you will be having fatigue, headaches, tight muscles, skin irritation, frequent inspection, constructive breathing, weight gain, like that what I saw. In mind, there will be unnecessary worrying, negativity will be there, foggy thinking will be there. We will jump to quick decisions, hasty decisions. Our judgment will go haywire. When we are talking about behavior, we generally land up into substance abuse. Maybe we are drinking, maybe we smoke, maybe a couple of these things we've seen, the sleeplessness, stay to ourselves. So there are multiple things happening when stress impacts you at multiple levels. And if any of these things is something that we are, suffering with or experiencing daily, you can look back to a connection that there is something, some stress that is playing on your mind, some response, some situation, some demand that you are not able to adequately address, and thereby it is leading to these things. So we feel that, why do I eat more? I eat more probably because I'm stressed. Why do I put on more weight? Because I'm stressed. Why do I get addicted to certain things? I'm stressed. Nervousness in so many. Everything you can find a link back to being stressed somewhere. And many a times these things with a little support, with certain changes can be corrected very easily. So what basically we are trying to say that when stress comes to us or the stress becomes toxic in our life, there are 4 unconscious or automated responses that we see. We either try and fight it, we flight, we move away from it, or we avoid it, we fawn, or we comply and accept it, but it will lead to certain consequences. All these 4 situations aggravated does not take away stress. It just keeps adding to building stress, or you freeze. So so what each of this mean? These are auto responses to stress. So when you are into a fight mode, you will do everything that you will take up the challenges. You will become rough on people. So then you can't control your anger. All these things will play if this is happening more often to you. You be sure that it is stress. If there is a flight mode, you will be obsessive in doing certain things, or you will display obsessive compulsive behavior. You will be rushing, over worrying. There are you become a workaholic. These are also signs of a flight syndrome. You are avoiding the main issue and getting busy with something else. And there's a freeze where you isolate yourself. You generally avoid much of social contact. We see these things happening as an automated response. So there are many things, and every individual will relate to stress in a very different manner. So if any of these things is something that you resonate with, that it is happening for a long period of time and you've not been able to address it, you can be sure that there is some aspect of stress playing and that these are automated responses coming in. Many a times we are able to cope, but overall, some of these things dominate. And if they dominate, then stress is playing an important role. So this is something that generally we talk, or you will see these are common slides that are available on stress, or everyone will try and talk to you about stress, define it in much better words. But primarily, the point that I'm trying to emphasize here is stress is something that is an unconscious, a subconscious response. It's an automated response. And it has got to do things with certain things that have happened in the past. So everything emerges from how your mental makeup is and how you are responding to the situation. So maybe you are fighting, maybe you think we are managing stress, but actually we are not addressing the core issue here. So now, generally when we talk about stress management tips, this is what everyone will tell you: meditate, exercise, walk in nature, pursue a hobby or a passion, do relaxation, sleep well, recharge, connect socially, join a club, develop a hobby, eat well, cut down on your caffeine, make a to-do list, prioritize things. I think all these things work, but they don't work in isolation. If you are able to link it back to certain subconscious files, you are able to work on your automated systems, you will be able to respond to your stress better. So here I bring in two aspects that I'm going to try and talk to. One is to understand this whole automated response that I'm talking since I've started. So what is this automated response? What does hypnotherapy got to do with it? Or what is hypnosis got to do with this? There is some insights that I will share on this particular aspect. And then I believe that stress can be built in when we build capacity, competence, or capabilities to adequately respond to every situation. So whatever demands are there in our life, there are certain things that we are not able to address and cope. There are people, situations in life that we are not able to reach out to. How do we get? Sometimes, the stress is because I've got a family member, my wife, or probably my mother or my kid, who is expecting certain behaviors out of me, and I'm not able to really address those behaviors well, and I try and dodge them, and it triggers certain automated responses, and I'm miserable, and the source may be there. So I need to build this capacity, competence, capability to address these issues, situations, people in my life. So I'll start first with understanding this automated response that or your subconscious mind that I'm trying to talk about. There are three things that I'm going to try and talk about. Here I'm going to talk about something called as a theory of the mind. Most of the clinical hypnotherapists will explain this to you in a way, but we need to understand this theory of the mind a little well. Then I'm going to talk about how these automated responses play and certain things will impact. So there's some side. And then I'm going to try and talk about that to manage stress, you need to go a little deeper and try and, address healing. And I'm going to do one small healing modality as an exercise with you all to just see whether it's called deep relaxation. We will take you through a session, may put you into a little relaxed mode and try and see if we can give certain auto suggestions there to try and calm down the automated systems to stress. So these are the three things that I'm going to try and talk about, and then certain tips that have worked well for me in helping me manage or build my capacity, competence, or capability in addressing issues there. So that's the second part that I will try and talk about. So let me quickly get into explaining the theory of the mind. So, when I'm going to the theory of the mind, I need the slide to be on full screen. Everyone can see the animation? Anyone just acknowledge this, please? Hello? Is my slide animation on?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. We
thank
are
you.
able to.
So, one of the things that everyone in hypnotherapy also, they kept asking us, and that's what I ask everyone, where is the mind? So most of us think it is there in our brain. So they define mind as a sphere of energy, or what is the body? Body is the physical form of energy. Mind is the electrical form of energy. and the hardware of the mind may be the brain, but the mind is basically a sphere of energy that surrounds us all over. It probably has a center where our umbilical is, and it's an energy sphere. If I ask everyone, where is your mind currently, it's not confined to the brain. Wherever you all may be sitting, you all can think about things that are there in your mind, can travel back to the past, to the future. It can imagine certain things in the other room that you're sitting in. It can recall faces. So the mind is an energy sphere that is all around you, and it extends to a to greater lengths. And we talk about the mind as a vast energy sphere, and it's not just restricted to the brain. Now the mind is divided into, this is the basic theory of what to say, theory of the mind. So it's divided in two parts. We call it the conscious mind, which is about 10 to 12% all the decisions that we take. We think, the logic, the analysis, the what we feel, what we decide. This is the conscious mind, and that contributes only to about 10 to 12% of our mind. And the remaining 88 to 90% of the mind is known as the subconscious mind. Now the subconscious mind stores everything. It's like a massive store. It has all the memories from the past, whatever has happened. They will go around saying from your past lives, and that is something that I didn't agree with initially, and we will draw a line to that. But everything that happened from the time you were in the womb till now is stored there. Some of them can be recalled very easily. Some of them you probably are not able to recall, or you've forgotten the path as to where you've kept, but it is lying there. So all our memories to a certain extent are stored there. Feelings are stored there. Experiences are stored there. And that stays in your subconscious mind. So it's a vast store. And many of the problems that we are addressing, whether it is stress or how we operate or our autonomous system that is working, that actually controls the mind. There's a simple example that we talk about. If you drive a car, while you're driving a car, how much of it do you drive consciously, and how much of you drive a vehicle, how much of it you drive subconsciously? And we believe that 10, 12, 10, 15% you may consciously drive a vehicle going to work or coming back home. But 80 to 90% of your driving of vehicle happens subconsciously or automatically. So most of our responses, how we react, everything is controlled by this subconscious mind. And this subconscious mind has a key to many things that are happening to us. So when we talk about this memory in our subconscious mind, the memory may be divided into a modern memory, which is all your past records. And there is a primitive mind, which is all the subconscious memory. It's like the genetic coding that is there, that you can consider as your primitive mind. But most of this memory is in the form of read only. You can go and access this memory, but there are connections made, and it works in a particular manner. So it's like a store that is there. Now, the only reactions that the subconscious mind knows, or the only reactions that it is capable of, is that flight and flight syndrome. It emerges from your primitive mind. So these are the basic reactions that are there. And whenever your subconscious mind, your conscious mind picks up a threat or something, your subconscious mind's automated response would be a flight or flight. And there are many things that the conscious mind picks up, which you're probably on your conscious state, you're not able to handle. The subconscious mind reads it as a threat, or a thing that it cannot address, and it gets into a flight mode. And then we saw that how it may lead to certain outcomes that are similar to what stress causes. So what happens is that so between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, there is what is known as the critical filter. Now this critical filter plays in terms of a very important role of what gets stored inside the mind. This critical filter is usually developed between the age of 0 to 8 years of age. So before we are 8 years of age, whatever happens to us, is stored without this filtering. So if there is a particular situation happens, if there's a fear that gets in, those memories are stored directly inside. So socio-economical, education, and religious inputs help you develop this filter. Once the filter is built, everything that we experience and see during the day gets stored in this critical filter for a period of 24 hours. And then when these memories are then taken inside the subconscious mind and filed in a particular manner. Now, the process of the whole the kind of dreams that we get, all that is the sorting. So there are different types of dreams, and when we sleep or when we rest, all the incidences through the day, what are relevant, non-relevant, they agree with our existing coding, get and store are stored inside your subconscious mind. So the point that I want you all to remember, the subconscious mind, there are multiple memories that are stored right from our childhood, and those form what is known as the circuitry of how your brain works or how you react to situations. So certain stimulations that are happening today in your current life, these situations result in triggering the similar pathways that are there that were caused during your childhood. I will come around to explaining this back again, but what we need to understand that many of our personality, behavior, reactions, our way we are going to address any issue is all stored in our subconscious mind when we were kids. And today, when a similar situation happens, it goes and kicks off the subconscious response, and these responses are similar to what we had learned or experienced while we were kids. So this filter plays a very important role. Every day through multiple there's multiple information that this brain is gathering. The conscious mind receives, we see faces, we talk to people, we learn new things, 1,000 things are coming in. These are environment from your body, from your subconscious mind. There are multiple thoughts or stimulation that the brain receives, and all this brain gets captured in the critical filter and then gets filtered when we sleep. Whatever is relevant is stored inside. Any new information is stored inside. Whatever the mind feels non-relevant. I saw the cab driver's face. I mean, it's a non-important information. I will probably skip it up. So there are many things that we will throw it away, and this whole the dreams, how we get our dreams is defined by this. They are known as sorting dreams, venting dreams, and predictive dreams. And within the night that we sleep, these thought processes go inside and they get stored into our subconscious mind there. So subconscious mind has got two sets of files. There are certain memories that get stored or certain information that gets stored, which is known as they cause pain, or they are known as the negative files. Something that has bothered us, something that connects us with that issues of that happened during childhood, the fear, the trauma that we've gone through. They are in line with that. They are known as the negative files, and there are certain things that make us feel good. They are known as your positive files, or they bring in pleasure. So everything that we are experiencing in our life, in our day, every day, in the end they are going to get sorted as positive files or negative files, and they stay inside. Now, this I feel again a lot of data, too many things that I've tried to talk and I'm trying to cover. I don't want to go in very details here, but I will try and give you an example probably that we'll be able to understand better. And I will close this topic and go more into an experience. So let's say an experience with a dog. In our childhood, when we were 2 or 3 years old, let's look at 3 cases here. One case, you were bitten by a dog. So you were bitten by a dog, you came home, your parents spanked you because you were not careful, and then you had to take injections. This whole episode with biting of a dog has left a memory that dogs bring in pain, and that memory is stored somewhere into your life. This happened while you are 2 or 3 years of age. After that, you've been away from dogs all throughout. you've never seen dogs or you've never gone close to a dog for 20 years, let's say. The second person in case here has played with a dog. He's been licked by the dog. He had wonderful memories with the dog. The puppy followed him everywhere. And this is a very positive memory that stays with that individual while he was 2-3 years, after which they moved to another place and there was no dog in their life. And we leave it there. And the third person in case had no positive or no negative experience with a dog that is there. How the subconscious mind plays. 20 years later, you move into a new place, a new town, a new neighborhood, and there are too many dogs in that area. The first person who was bitten by a dog will not realize that it's the dog that is causing anxiety, but every time he sees a dog, this anxiety starts rising. And because the dogs are all over, no dog is coming and biting. There's no incident. When they see a dog, they cross the road, automatically they move away from them. They've never gone close by. But just the sight of seeing too many dogs in and around, or you probably get married into a house where there's a dog, you will constantly keep getting stressed up because that fear emotion will keep playing on. And probably you may get hypertension or this will lead to some toxic stress, and you may have some hypertension issue that is developed in a few years because there's a dog around. The dog never came around to biting you, never went close to the dog. But just seeing the dog constantly is keeping certain processes running in your subconscious mind. Similarly, the person who was happy with a dog now has too many dogs in and around for company. That person generally is in a good mood and stays very happy most of the time. And the third person remains unaffected by the presence of a dog. He doesn't even notice there are dogs in and around. So my whole point, what I'm trying to say is that what has happened during childhood, how is the mental makeup, what kind of positive and negative files stay, what kind of flight and flight reactions you have. These things dominate our automatic system, and that works in probably the way we respond to stress. Any experience that we go through impacts our body and impacts our mind belief system, and the memory is stored in as a sensory file and is associated with certain emotions, that is anger, fear, disgust, happiness, sadness, content. Now what happens is any of this sensory file is evoked or touched or stimulated, then these fears are going to keep playing. And these fears, when they constantly play, they will, if they are negative emotions and negative fears, they will land up giving you a high level of stress. So if you have to find in the inner peace, you need to somewhere go across and address these issues. So if I'm constantly getting angry, you need to go back to the source. What is happening in my subconscious mind that is triggering this anger? If I'm constantly scared or having fear, you need to, if that is the predominant emotion that you are experiencing, need to go back to understanding what the triggers for emotions are. Usually the situation today may look something that is simple, but because of our subconscious programming in a particular manner, these emotions keep playing back again. There is something that is being stored, and these negative files can be worked on. So whenever you see any trigger, any sensory file appears in your current state today, like the dog you see in and around, it is going to trigger off certain subconscious processes. So this triggers involuntary bodily response, your various body functions like respiration, circulation, heart rate, immune response, hormones, endocrine system, neurotransmitters, everything, your digestion, everything gets impacted by this, and we need to build in this link. So this is something that probably we learned during hypnotherapy of trying to build this association, and somewhere going and building and connection between this and what was triggering it off. So I'll again go back to giving a specific example here. So what turned me into a hypnotherapist? So while I went and attended this course, and I said no, I'm relatively happy. I eat everything. I'm very happy. There's nothing that I'm worried about. I'm not really sick also. I don't take medicines throughout. I'm relatively fit. Overweight is the only problem. I mean, I put on weight, but it's not that as though I'm obese. I understand I've been partying and drinking and eating a lot, and therefore I've got this weight. So she said that, but why in the last, have you seen the weight? I said, yeah, I quit my job. I've been in this entrepreneurial drive, and so I've got the free time and I was enjoying myself well, and that's the reason I've got weight gain. She said, but 10, 12 kgs of weight is quite a lot. So she linked it to a stress, and so I said, okay, let's address this weight issue. And then she did some processes she put me into trance, and she came down to, you know, connecting to a file. During my childhood, she closed my eyes and she regressed me to a child, 8-year-old child feeling unloved. So I said, no, but I feel that everyone likes me, and I'm generally, a person who woos people, gets along well with people. But this inner child somewhere kept saying that I'm not loved by my parents, and that's the system that. So I didn't understand what is the connection between a 8-year-old child feeling unloved and my weight gain, and today my stress and entrepreneurship. So she went around to explaining at multiple places. I constantly sought validation, wanting people to love me. Probably during the work and while I was dealing with colleagues and multiple places, that need was met. But today, when I'm as an entrepreneur, I'm on my own, that interaction or that validation has gone low. When that validation has gone low, the subconscious mind, no one is telling me, sir, tusi great ho, on day-to-day basis. And because that validation has gone down, you are somewhere trying to seek that approval. It is triggering certain flight syndrome, certain eating habits are going up. You are hoarding, energy in a manner that you put on weight. So she gave me certain auto suggestions. She did certain corrections, and I lost about 10 kgs of weight in a span of 2 months. So your ability to work on these connections is something that is very, very critical. So the point that I'm trying to build in here, that if there are certain signs of stress, if there are certain bodily responses to stress, they are not going to be managed by a quick fix. You need to go back and try and understand where and why these reactions or emotions are emerging. So I think this was the heavy part of the entire. I think I'm talking about stress management, but talking about all this theory of the mind probably stresses you all up a bit. I think beyond this, most of the other concepts are going to be a little fun, and then we'll get into that exercise and see whether we can experience some form of stress management in a difference. So there's another concept that I need to like you understand this theory of the mind. Find out, there are brilliant videos available on the net. Read up a little bit about it, but understand the power of your subconscious mind and understand that there are certain files there. All of us have got this I'm not okay file with us, and our life struggle is about feeling okay. So there are books to that effect, and in the journey, you need to be able to come and acknowledge that I'm not okay file within you and address that in a manner, and then you will be able to find peace with it. This is a second concept that they talk about. We generally see our existence only in unidimensional or two-dimensional existence. We think that we've got the body and the mind, like I explained the theory of the mind. But this one example talks about that our existence is not two-dimensional or unidimensional. We've got 5-dimensional existence. We exist in 5 dimensions, and somewhere they talk about each of the dimensions. The first dimension we all know, it's known as the physical body or the Annamaya Kosh. It's the food sheet, as they call. So this is the existence that we all deal with. When problems happen to this sheet, that means we put on weight, or we are stressed up, or there is pain, there's anxiety, we experience, or there's a disease we experience in this body. This is one sheet of existence. They say that the next sheet of existence is your pranamaya kosh, or your energy body, or which is the next level. This we are able to sense when our energy, sometimes when this sheet is impacted, we feel a little dull. There's nothing wrong with the physical body. but our energies are sapped. We feel a little dull and low while we are managing that. And this sheet of energy can be, like the physical body, you can correct it by giving in some medicines or eating the right food and energizing itself. The energy body can be worked on by doing some yoga exercises, breathing, massage. All this work and stimulate what is known as the energy body. This is your second sheet of existence. The third sheet of existence is known as your manomay kosh, or your emotional body, or your mental body. And this is the mind that we try to talk about. And this is the place that we can work. If there is some issue with the mind, you can see a counselor, and that entire system of working at the level of the mind to solve an issue can be looked at. The fourth sheet of existence is something that is very, very, this is something that, again, in the theory of the mind that I was trying to talk about, we need to address. And this is known as the intellect body, or the cosmic body, or what is known as the Vijnanmay Kosh. So this is nothing but the circuitry, the kind of makeup, how and what experiences you had during your childhood that resulted in creating the kind of personality you are. Whether the dog bit you, or the dog licked you, or the dog had no impact on you, there is a circuitry or a connection that is being made inside. And this is something that defines what thoughts we attract, what situations we attract in our life. Whether it's Rhonda Poland talking about The Secret, or Shah Rukh Khan talking about किसी चीज को सच्चे दिल से चाहो तो सारी कायनात तुम्हें उस चीज से मिलाने में जुड़ जाती है. The power of the subconscious mind, when they try and talk to you about, they try and say that you need to make these circuitry changes to your Vijnanmay Kosh. And when you have got issue with this circuitry going wrong, there are certain issues that are normal things also are triggering it. Then you need to go and fix that. How do you do that? You do it through hypnotherapy. You do it through seeking interventions at that level, doing inner child work. There are multiple modalities that are generated. So what we believe that these four sheets of existence, body needs to heal. When it needs to heal, it may be at the physical level, it may be at the energy level, it may be at the mental level, or it may be at this cosmic level or intellect level. So each of these places, there are interventions. Most of us in the pharma field agree with interventions made at the level of the body. We all, to a certain extent, accept the interventions that are made at the energy level. Everyone looks at the importance of exercise. We look at the interventions at mind. We agree that counselors and play a very important role. Being with a friend plays an important role. At the same time, this is one other area that we need to explore. Certain stresses, certain issues in life may not be addressed by these first three aspects, which is correcting it. Your intellect will keep driving the stresses into your body. If you, through exercise, through proper diet, sleeping, through going and meeting friends and relaxation and hobby, you still feel stressed out, or there are still certain negative emotions coming up, go and explore the Vijnanmay Kosh, work on your subconscious mind, work on your intellect body, and you will be able to find certain corrections happening there. The fifth sheet of existence is known as the bliss body, or known as the Anandamay Kosh, or the causal body. So what basically they say that, everyone is perfect, and this is what spirituality or something teaches you. So your ability to meditate or take, spiritualism as a path to healing and solving your problems, or finding the inner peace, you can go via this, the Anandamay Kosh. You sit into a blissful state and act there. So these are the 5 sheets of existence. And somewhere when you are, because of stress, there is an injury, hurt, trauma, disease, illness, or a problem that you're facing because of stress, it can impact any of these sheets of existence. The source or the problem may lie anywhere. Over a period of time, because of certain things repeatedly happening, one or all sheets of existence may get impacted. And if you want to heal and you want to find inner peace, you need to touch any of the aspects. You can start healing by initiating any place, but you need to address the entire body. So need to diagnose that there. So this was one of the parts of healing. So what do we talk about healing? So if you want to heal the body, take medicines and it works. Do, energy, do meditation, do exercise, it works. Work on emotions, see a counselor, it works. If you want to work on your level of thoughts or your Vignan coach, see a counselor or hypnotherapist. Probably they will be able to help you find connections. And finally, there is spiritual healing. You find a guru and then you get into the acts of meditation and finding that peace within there. So these were the concepts on what do you say the ways that we can heal our body. Now, what I wanted to do at this point in time, I wanted to do this small exercise. I wanted to do a deep relaxation technique that hypnotherapists use as a tool to calm or soothe down your Vijnanmay Kosh. And I'm going to I want to do this, but after you do that small intervention, everyone will take in certain questions and all, and people will be in another state, I believe, after we've done this intervention. So I want to first finish off the building capacity. There are a couple of other thoughts that I want to leave you behind with, and then we will do this small what to say experience with touching the Vijnanmay Kosh, or what a clinical hypnotherapist does. And before we get there, I'm going to talk about 3 other concepts that have really helped me a lot in probably de-stressing myself, and it helps you manage or find the peace within. So one of the concepts is this past, present, future. So what do I mean by past, present, future? There are many books. Eckhart Tolle talks about this, the power of now. A must read, look at it, and it talks about being in the present. If you live too much in the future, anxiety, nervousness, and fear is bound to dominate in your life, and you're living too much in the future because of some coding that has happened. And if anxiety, nervousness, and fear is your constant emotion, then you are constantly living into the future. If guilt, anger, and sadness, if these are dominating in your personality, then there is a very high chance that you're living constantly in the past. So it's very, very important that we live in the present and identify any of these emotions that are dominating, that pulls you to the past and the present. And this is definitely going to take peace away from your life. And living in the past or in the future causes tremendous energy drain. So it impacts at that level, and then it goes and impacts the entire body, all the 5 sheets of existence. So as much as you can, if you can stay in the present, it is going to be now this is also a journey, this is also a struggle. How it can be done, you probably recode or decode what is the past and why the past is pulling you. You build capabilities and competence, you will be able to manage the anxieties of the future better. And this is a journey that we have in our lives. So invest in yourself, you will be able to take your future well. Read well, build skills, build capabilities, build strength, build capacity, and then you will be able to, and that can be done only in the now. And that's how you tackle what is happening in the future. The second concept that I try and talk about, this is something, this one theory or one concept has gone around to change my life. It's played a very important role, and I called it, there's no word called as adult breathing, but I've coined a word here called adult breathing. This is on the basis of transaction analysis. Now, T.A. Eric Berne in 1960s wrote a book called Games People Play and postulated the theory of transaction analysis. In this theory, he said that we are not one single personality, but we are made up of 3 distinct personalities known as the parent, adult, and child. Each of this personality is a psychosocial reality. Given a situation, one of these personalities talk. All of us who is above the age of 4 or 5 display 3 distinct parent, adult, and child personalities. Now, a quick understanding of what is a parent personality. A parent personality is a personality that comes into play when the environment is under your control. It's a reactive personality, and it tries to do good when others are not doing. It's about taking control. So wherever you feel that you are powerful, this personality will play, and you tend to operate out of this personality. The child personality is the personality of experience. Given any situation where you are not in power, not in command, you don't feel powerful, then this child personality comes into play. And this child personality is something, the role of this personality is to experience. This is also is a reactive personality. Both parent and child personalities are reactive, borrowed part of your personality. Once this particular situation is linked with, you will autoplay this. And I talk about this to managers, I talk this about to sales guys, I talk about this to everywhere in terms of leadership. Understanding and recognizing which of your personality talks the most is important. Now what happens, the third personality is known as the adult personality. This is a non-reactive personality. It is someone role is to exchange data. There is no, it does not take cognizance of the fact that the power is with you or the environment is under your control or over your or controlling over you. It does not take. It is something that data is exchanged adequately. Ideally, in all business situations, wherever we are dealing with, whoever we are dealing with, whichever relationship we are dealing in, we should be able to deal like adults, and that is what I call as adult breathing. But what usually happens is we normally transact from either a child ego state. At workplace, when you are talking to a boss, 90% of us get hooked on, our child ego state gets hooked on, and we talk from a submissive state. If we are the boss, then we start becoming aggressive and we start from an aggressive state. Our majority of our conversations dealing with people or how we deal in given situations are emerging either from our adult ego state, if you are an aggressive individual and you are the bossy person around, or if you are subjected to authority, that child ego state will play. And our constant dealing, where we are supposed to be an adult, we speak out of a child ego state. Where we are supposed to be an adult, we start speaking out of a parent ego state. So the conversations that happen between two people, 90% of our stress, I believe, is caused because of other people. We are social human beings, and most of the people are causing us stress, and relationships cause us stress. We are not able to get things through people. That gives in the maximum amount of stress. And TA gives you is a fantastic tool if you can read and learn. It just tells you be an adult in every relationship with people that you're dealing. If you can maintain your adult free, if your adult can breathe in every situation, you will be able to be less stress free. You will be able to manage the situations better. So I talked about, when you talk about transactions between two people, transactions can happen from multiple places. But if you can, in every relationship, if your adult to adult conversation dominates, your adult to adult breathes, then those relationships will be less stressful. What happens is most of the time we are operating in a submissive state with bosses, with elders, with parents, with people of authority. Most of the places we feel small compared to we don't have the environment in our control. We immediately resort to a child ego state and talk from there. And this is the submissive state that we are operating on. If you operate for long in a submissive state, you are going to be stressed out. You may be in an aggressive state. You dominate everywhere, keep asserting, keep pushing. If this state is something that you operate from, then you are going to be again stressed out. But when you stay in an assertive state, when your predominant communication between you and the opponent person is a adult to adult complementary transaction, your impact, your ability to de-stress yourself goes higher. So like I said, the first one, stay in the present. Second thing is let your adult breathe. Don't work on the contamination of your adult. The more your adult is free, the more de-stressed you will be. So that is another concept that I'm trying to connect TA here to stress management. And the final aspect is this. One of my ex-bosses used to talk about this slide, and it has stayed with me. It's a Marathi quote that goes on to say that प्रत्येक घराला एक कुंपण असावं म्हणजे आपलं जग ठरवता येतं. बाहेर किती बरबटलेलं असलं तरी आपल्यापुरतं सावरता येतं. This simply means that every house should have a courtyard, a boundary, so that we can decide our world. The world outside may be however mess it is, we can ensure that our world is clean. So point that I'm trying to drive here is that we need to have boundaries. We need to draw boundaries everywhere. In stress management, first thing is create these boundaries, define these boundaries, and don't let people, help people learn not to violate these boundaries. So your ability to say no to toxicity, your ability to take responsibility, your respect other people's boundaries, learn to say no is something that goes a long way in helping you de-stress yourself. Now, why don't you have the courage to say no? Why don't you have the courage to define the boundaries and protect your boundaries? Is something that goes into your failed attempts at it during your childhood or in your subconscious mind. So somewhere through auto suggestions, through an hypnotherapist, you can work on building those boundaries, building those capabilities and skills, and thereby your ability to protect those boundaries. So I think, in short, this is the place where I summarize my talk. I point that I'm trying to say, talk here, is that if you're trying to de-stress yourself and find the peace within, you need to go and work on your subconscious mind. There is a lot of garbage there which needs to be cleared, and working on that journey will help you de-stress yourself in a big way. In terms of that, so you need to heal that part. You need to clear that garbage. You need to clear those issues that are there in your subconscious mind. And the second aspect that I've tried to talk about, build capacity and competence. Capacity and competence in staying in the present, at the same time being an adult, and guarding and protecting your boundaries. So these are the three things, if you are able to do, we will definitely find peace within. So this is something that I wanted to talk. Now I want to take you all through a small experience. So I wish all of you all get into a comfortable position to, and in order to take you through this journey, I have actually called in my the person who helped me in this journey to do journey to do this hypnotherapy is my wife, and she does a lot of today clinical hypnotherapy practice on phone. And I have asked her, I mean, my voice may not, I've talked a lot, and I thought that would be a better change. So I'm going to call her to take you through a small exercise of deep relaxation. So just put on your mics, listen to her voice. I'm going to follow this with you. Once this exercise for 10-15 minutes is done, then we will start taking in questions, and we will address this. We'll take it further. So someone from someone can share it with my other, or I can do that.
Yes, sir. What would
Yeah,
you like to share?
There's another Sriharsh thing that needs to be shared. She will take in from there. She's on another computer.
Yes.
So follow the
Yes.
instructions that she takes to, and then we will take it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you can now stop me from this, and you can start with her.
Uh, uh, can you hear me? I have unmuted myself.
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Am I
Good
visible?
afternoon. Yes. Good
Okay.
afternoon.
You're visible. You can continue.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And so we will go through a small process, and I request everyone to be seated very comfortably. I'm sure you are seated comfortably, but if you can maybe remove your shoes, put your legs touching the ground, take a back rest. And so I'm going to let you through a process of there will be two purposes that will be served through this process. One is that you will be able to relax yourself, learn the technique to relax yourself. And also, very briefly, I'll help you get in touch with your own inner child. So, what is this inner child? I assume everybody is seated comfortably. Before I begin the process, I would like to introduce this term inner child so that when we are doing the process, you know what I'm talking about. Inner child is nothing but your own self. Okay, so so my name is Noor Jahan. So the Noor Jahan of 10 minutes back is my inner child. The Noor Jahan of 1 hour back is my inner child, or the Noor Jahan of 10 years back is my inner child. So whenever I ask you to talk about inner child or imagine your inner child, it is you and your own personality that I'm talking about. So are we good to go?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I want all of us to close your eyes and be seated very, very comfortably. Be seated very, very comfortably. Close your eyes and get in touch with your breath. Breathe in and breathe out and relax. Gather all your thoughts. Allow your thoughts to come in and go out. And very gradually bring your attention to your breath, to your breathing. Feel your breath going in and feel your breath leaving your nose. Breathe in from your nose and breathe out of your nose and feel your breath going in and going out. And now to further relax ourselves, let's breathe in from your nose and breathe out of your mouth. And as you're breathing out, let it be a nice and big exhalation. In from your nose, a deep breath inside from your nose and out of your mouth. And it should sound something like this. In from your nose and out of your mouth. And as you breathe out, simply allow yourself to relax. Focus on your breathing, and as you breathe out, allow your entire body to feel very relaxed and very comfortable. Allow this wonderful wave of relaxation to go all over your body, starting with your legs. Allow this wave of relaxation to relax both your legs. Feel the fingers of your legs relaxing, your ankles, your calves, your knees, and your thighs. And you will find that both your legs are feeling so comfortably relaxed. And this wonderful wave of relaxation is now moving up your hips and moving up your stomach, and you will find that this wave of relaxation is relaxing all the small and big muscles of your stomach. And with each breath, allow all the stomach muscles of your stomach to simply relax. Let them fall. Let them just fall. Let them lose their weight. Let them just simply relax. Moving up to your chest, with each breath that you take in and release, you find that all your chest muscles are also relaxing. Just let go of all the stress. Allow your muscles to relax. Allow them to become very loose and limp. And from your right shoulder, you can feel that this wave of relaxation is gently pushing out all the stress from the fingers of your right hand. And just feel the stress simply flying away from your fingers, relaxing your right hand completely. And from your left shoulder, similarly, this wave of relaxation is gently pushing out all the stress from the fingers of your left hand, allowing both your hands to feel so relaxed and so naturally comfortable. Moving up from your shoulders up to your neck, this wave of relaxation is going down your back, relaxing all the muscles of your upper back, mid back, lower back. And from your back, this wonderful wave of relaxation is moving up your neck, over your scalp, down your face, relaxing your jawline, allowing you to go deeper and deeper and deeper. That wonderful state of your being where you are totally relaxed, totally comfortable. All your muscles are simply relaxing, becoming very loose and very limp, having released all the stress and tension. And as your body is relaxing, you find that your closed eyelids have become very heavy. And you can feel that from your closed eyelids, all the stress is simply flying away, allowing your eyelids to become even more heavy, even more limp, allowing you to go deeper and deeper. And all you have to do is simply relax. Be with your breath and go deeper. The more your body relaxes, the more your mind becomes calm. The more your mind becomes calm, your body relaxes, allowing you to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And now I want you to imagine that you are in your mind sitting in the room of your comfort. This could be any room that you want to be in. It could be the current room that you're sitting in. It could be any other place in your house. It could be your office space, any place where you are comfortable, where you are in charge, where you feel very safe and secure. So in your mind, imagine that you are sitting in the room of your comfort. And in this room, find yourself a nice place to sit. It could be your bed, your sofa, a chair. And just allow yourself to sit in this room very comfortably. This is your room where you are comfortable, where you are safe and secure. And now, while you're sitting in this room, I want you to imagine or bring forth any incident in your life which has been stressful. It could be an incident that has happened today or yesterday, or 5 years back, or 10 years back, or any event in your childhood, any event linked to your family, your school, your college, your place of work. Recall one incident that comes immediately to your mind. Don't think too much. Just pick up the first one that comes, where you have felt extremely stressed, worried, tense. And now I want you to imagine this incident which you have thought of. Bring this incident right in front of your eyes while you are sitting in this room of your comfort. Imagine that there is a movie going on, and on the screen in front of you is this very, very stressful incident which is playing out right in front of you. Imagine all the characters, see all the characters. They could be people from your family, could be people from your workplace, your neighbors, your own children or your own parents. Recreate this incident in front of you, which has been responsible for a lot of stress and tension. So it's like a film going on in front of you. And from this incident, identify your own inner child, who at that point of time felt very stressed. This inner child could be, as I said earlier, could be you 10 minutes back or an hour back or 10 years back, whenever this incident happened. Identify your own self in this stressful situation. And as the adult of today, go ahead and put your arms around your own inner child who's facing this very, very stressful situation. Put your arm around your own inner child and ask your inner child, which is the person, your own self, who's facing this stressful situation, ask him or her to identify what is the emotion that he or she is feeling because of the stress. It could be fear, it could be anger, it could be helplessness, it could be guilt, it could be shame, and it could be more than one of these emotions. Help your inner child who for the first time faced that stressful situation to identify the emotion that he or she is going through right now. Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it helplessness? Is it sadness? Is it guilt? Identify this emotion. And now, ask your inner child on the scale of 1 to 10, what is this? What is the intensity of this emotion? 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest. How strong is this emotion of fear, anger, helplessness, which has led to the stress? 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest. Give a number to this level of stress, to this level of intensity that you are facing right now. And you will also find that the adult of today is also feeling the same stress, the same anger and same helplessness. At this moment, you could feel a certain vibration or a sensation in your body, which is perfectly okay. Just be with it. Give the intensity a number. And now, view the adult of today and your inner child. I will help you to release the energy of the emotion that you are feeling right now that has led to the stress. And let's do that. Let's let it go from our body. Let us release the energy of this emotion. And I want you to breathe in deeply from your nose and out of your mouth. Throw it out. Throw it out very forcefully. In from your nose and out of your mouth. In from your nose and out of your mouth. Keep releasing the energy of that emotion. In from your nose and out of your mouth. Continue to breathe out your anger, your fear, your helplessness, and the resultant stress. Breathe it out. In from your nose and out of your mouth. Let it go. You don't need to keep it. Out. Continue to breathe out till this situation that is there in front of you completely goes away. This picture in front of you that has been responsible for the stress will simply disappear from your eyes in front of you. So continue to breathe out in from your nose and out of your mouth. In from your nose and out of your mouth. Continue to do it. I'll give you a minute to do this. In from your nose and out of your mouth. Continue to breathe out. Let go of that stress. You don't need to keep it. Let go of that fear. Let go of that anger or whatever emotion that you are feeling. Let it leave your body right now. Continue to breathe out till the situation that led to that stress disappears completely. Let that image to go completely. Continue to breathe out. And now with this breathing out, it is possible that that image has completely gone away that has led to the stress. I want you to retain your inner child who experienced this stress. Retain this inner child. And now both of you, the adult of today and the inner child, your own inner child, understand the wisdom that you've got from this incident. What did you learn? What is it that you will do or not do so that you don't experience this stress again? What do you learn? Each incident happens in our life to teach us something. What have you learned? Once you get the wisdom out of this incident, put your hands on the shoulders of your inner child. Tell him or her that I love you and accept you totally and completely. And with this, integrate your inner child into the adult of today. And I will now count you up from 0 to 5. And with this, you can gradually open your eyes. Starting at 1, you are comfortable, relaxed, been able to let go of all your stress resulting from that incident. You've understood and identified the emotion that you felt. You've understood what you need to do or not do so that you don't experience that stress again. With this understanding and healed energies and awareness, come up at 1, further up at 2. Integrate your inner child. Up at 3, further up at 4. And at 5, you can gradually open your eyes.
Wonderful. Can I request the participants to please switch on the video, and maybe we can have one more exercise if I can request Madam to continue with that. So can we, so that we all will be on screen, you know, with the
Okay.
breathing exercises to really de-stress ourselves. So participants, please, the video mode is on. You can please switch on the video. And let's have one more minute of this exercising. Maybe Madam will help us to really de-stress ourselves.
Okay. Actually, that has been the process for the last 20 minutes that we did. But yeah, let's do it again. Maybe a minute more. Yeah, so we can all close our eyes.
We can, Noor, we can give them that one little auto suggestion inside as a part of the prayer.
Yeah.
So I think that we can do.
Yeah. So yeah, we can just close our eyes. Continue to get back to our breathing. Feel your breath. Feel your breath going in and going out. And now that we've understood the reason for our stress, we've also understood what are the various emotions that we experience and how those emotions lead to us feeling stressed out. So anytime we are in a stressful situation, all we have to do is first breathe out all the stress. In from your nose and out of your mouth. Once the energy of that emotion is released, we can tell ourselves, no matter what, I can handle this situation well. And for me to handle this situation well, all I need to tell myself that I love myself and accept myself in this situation totally and completely. We can all repeat in our minds, I love myself and I accept myself totally and completely. And with this self-acceptance, I know I can handle this situation in a way that helps me and helps the other party. I accept myself and I love myself totally and completely to be able to handle this situation well. And we can now gradually open our eyes and we can come in the here and now.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Why we try to do this when we are trying to look at hypnotherapy? It's a form of a meditation only we look at, but there are ways that we can go into our subconscious mind, get into the place where we can call these memories, rework the charge, release the charge. These are the processes that can be done. And there's a lot of, one thing that probably I practice out of hypnotherapy on day-to-day basis. Noor is doing this with a lot of clients over phone today during COVID. Therefore, I felt that her flow in managing this online would be much better. The point is that keep giving yourselves auto suggestions. every morning, I mean, this is something that I keep doing it. That, telling us, I mean, if for me, this auto suggestion of I love myself the way I am, is a very important auto suggestion that you need to give, because otherwise we will seek that outside, otherwise we will feel incapable inside. So it all emerges from the wiring. Somewhere, some past incidences stay back with us, which we've not been able to address, and that we've been able to address. I think at this point we will take in a few questions. I think Noor is also on. If anyone has anything specific to ask, we will try and answer those.
Right. Let the videos be on. I think that will be really nice when you're asking the question. So you can just raise your hand, and the floor is open for all the participants. If they have any questions with respect to the stress management, or you want to discuss any issues which you feel, at this moment you are feeling quite stressed out. So can anyone really experience, did you feel the difference? How do you feel before and how do you feel now? Yes, Dr. Putta Rajesh Kumar has raised the hand. Can we unmute him?
Good afternoon, madam.
Yeah, good afternoon.
It was very nice session, madam. My question is, could you suggest key 1 or 2 auto suggestions for the COVID patients for speedy recovery? Auto suggestions, 1 or 2 auto suggestions for COVID patients.
I think Noor, can you take that?
Yeah, I think that one very basic suggestion that COVID patients can give is I'm healing. I'm better. I am okay. My body is healing well. I'm able to
fight this.
I will fight this. I am fighting this out. My body is capable of fighting this virus. So, and always the suggestions have to be in the present tense. I will. I am. I am fighting. I am okay. I am healing.
These suggestions are something that it's a continuing thing. It's not that this will happen in the future, this should happen, this may happen. It is happening. I'm experiencing. If you create those auto suggestions in the present, current tense, then they will really create a better impact. So maybe, at a particular period of time, a COVID patient may find it difficult to breathe. So the suggestion is going to be, I'm breathing fine. I'm breathing better. I'm able to, the virus is going down in my body. It is exiting my body. It is leaving my body. So it is presently happening. And I'm getting better and better and better. So that is the, so we need to coin it for every individual. What is he experiencing at that particular period of time? Connect it with his past fears and then define or create a specific auto suggestion that works better.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, any other participant? I think all of them seem to be quite stress relieved. And
no, what these processes? If there was, in the middle, we ran a abundance. I think every day we had to watch certain videos, and there was a process. And many people, we loved it. Deepak Chopra has got his voice and he talks about giving you these suggestions and works on it. I mean, doing this kind of program also really helps in a big way. So maybe some of those, that link to that kind of a program, I can send it to you and then it can be circulated among people. And you have to do a small exercise where you start reworking on yourself, looking at these stress pointers, listening to a small audio, and repeating these suggestions in your mind through the day. And you do it for a couple of, I think 3 weeks, 21 days together. And it is a fantastic relaxing exercise. I think I've done it about 3 times. Noor has probably done it 5 times over. So every day in the night before going off to bed or early in the morning when we get up, just doing this also helps you really recharge. So that is how we go around finding peace inside or within.
I have put the affirmations in the chat. I don't know whether it's
Yes,
visible.
it's
Yeah.
visible. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We could read that. I'm healing. I'm fine. Yes, we can check see that. Yes, for sure. Okay, so I think there are a number of, I mean, people have really liked it. And I can see Noor has already mentioned there, I am healing, I am fine. My body can deal with this virus. It's leaving my body. And Ketki Dhane has thanked. It's like all is well. All is well. Thank you for this session. Surya
Pleasure.
Goel is mentioning that very exciting and imperious session. It is like a natural healing of body. Such activities recharge our mind and soul too. So thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So it's been wonderful. Thank you, Noor, and thank you, Sri Harsh.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. It's been very wonderful. On behalf of Bombay College of Pharmacy, we have planted one sapling for you, which will remind of your contribution towards this FDP program. So I
Thank you so
request
much.
our team members to please play that video. Yeah, so it's a fig tree that has been, it's been planted. So
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
thank you, Shreyash, and thank you, Noor. It was
Thank
great
you.
of both of you all being on this platform. Thanks a lot. Thank you
Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so participants, we now break for lunch and we join back at 2:45 for the assessment and the valedictory function. Okay, so request to be sharply present at 2:45. Okay, please be present at 2:45. Kindly log in on time.
उन लोग अभी participant का चालू है ना.
So thank you all. Yes, Dr. Sagar, I think you can end the meeting now here.